Well, this is it. The Bachelor finale is upon us, and some say Grant is still deciding on who he wants to pick to this day. But we finally reached the part of the season everything has been building up towards. Is it going to be Latia, or will it be Juliana? And even Grant doesn't know as the cars pull up to the final rose ceremony. So, let's take a look at this final preview for the season and see what we can find out. And, as per usual, please, no posting any outright spoilers unless you can back it up with sleuthing, and a link to the full preview is in the description.
It's the incredibly emotional season finale.
I love you. I love the man that you become. You a gem. You deserve to be happy. And I know you're gonna make the right choice.
So this finale is going to pick up right where the last episode left off, with Grant prepping his family to meet his final two. And this emotional moment with Grant's dad might not tell us much in terms of the outcome of the season, but I do wonder if it puts a little bit of weight towards Juliana being the pick. That lone wolf conversation they had, the discussion of being broken, the talk of how similar their mentalities are, being around Grant's dad, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in a bad way, could be a reminder of some of the childhood struggles that Grant's had, and in turn, all those things he talked about with Juliana, basically putting her into the forefront of his mind, and how he could have the big family he's always kind of dreamed about in the Pascarosas. Though Latia also has a big family and has discussed wanting to provide Grant the family life he didn't get growing up. I kind of wonder if the idea between the two is Latia on one side, the ideal life he's sort of pictured, and Juliana, who's more of a reflection of himself, and the two are more alike. But one thing that I think will be a guarantee is that we're going to see some kind of proposal. I doubt he'd be this indecisive if he was just going to not propose at the end of the day, though who am I to try and put any semblance of logic into the decision that a lead makes on this show. So, moving on.
I could see Latia being my wife.
So good to meet you.
And I could see Juliana being my wife.
You're a very special type of man that not many people come across in their lifetime.
Juliana makes me feel special.
Okay, I need to stop. Can we just rewind to here? Is there any sort of similarity going on here? Is this a thing? You know, visually? Maybe it's all starting to make sense. But if you've never seen a Bachelor finale before, this is how it's gonna go. There are always two dates each. A meet the family date, where the final two meets the lead's folks, including Grant's sister and his parents, then a last chance date before the final rose ceremony. The last chance to clear anything up before a final decision is made, which we'll see up ahead.
And I see her as the mother of my children.
You are enough. You are so much more than enough.
I love you.
And I love you.
Latia is a picture of what I came in here looking for.
Okay, and there it is. Grant says it himself that Latia is the picture of what he came in here looking for. While I bet Juliana is the surprise that sort of came along and perhaps could be more compatible. But on the other hand, Latia said that she's willing to move and jump right into a family. However, is that what Grant wants? Or does he want to wait a bit longer before having kids? We'll have to think about all these things on these last chance dates, where it's sunny for Juliana and rainy for Latia, which maybe at this point Grant will take as a sign because he really can't decide. The Dominican Republic is trying to tell you something, Grant. I don't know, he's gonna have to have some basis to make this decision.
She makes me feel like there's a future in her, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Do you love my son?
I'm ready to settle down and have kids.
Life is not always happy and chipper.
Alright, so here we have the grilling of the girls, and I think this is made out to be way more dramatic than it will actually be. I mean, I'll be pleasantly, maybe devilishly surprised if it does turn into a drama fest. But even this moment where Grant's mom asks Juliana if she loves Grant and Juliana pauses, I don't know if I buy it. There's no way. We know from the end of last episode and also later in this preview that they've pumped up the double love story. The only thing that this finale is going to be about is Grant's indecisiveness, and frankly, I'm more interested in the after the final rose than anything. Because once Grant finally makes his decision, everything will be sunshine and roses until the person he picks sees just how close he was to not picking them. And a lot of people have questioned Grant's current relationship status with how glum he looked at the women tell-all. So for me, it's all about that final rose ceremony decision and then any updates since filming ended. Everything that leads up to that is just extra.
Are you closer to getting getting there with one girl more than the other?
I don't know yet.
As your mom, I am asking you to walk away from that.
Now it's like, I feel confused.
So we once again see Grant's mom asking him to walk away from something, but like I said in last week's preview breakdown, I don't think she's necessarily talking about one of the women. I actually think she's saying something to try and help him make his decision. Like, walk away from the nitpicking that's getting in the way of you making your choice here. Cause up ahead, Grant says he's in love with both women, and I can't imagine he'd be so indecisive if his mom flat out disapproved of one of his final two.
I love two women. It's an impossible decision. It's impossible.
Both women are on their way here right now. I really need to know which one to send first.
I'm gonna be honest here, I really hope it's not a 3-hour finale. They haven't made any comment about it being 3 hours, at least in this preview, like they usually do when they have an extended finale, or they'll say something like, coming up on this 2-night finale. And I'm mentioning this because I'm mostly just invested in this final rose moment. And we don't need 3 hours to get there, just give me the family dates, give me the last chance dates, let's see Grant groaning and struggling over his decision, and let's get to the goods. But alright, let's finish this preview off and then talk about what I think the outcome is gonna be.
It is not normal that you go into an engagement and you're still trying to figure out who your person is.
We do need to head out.
This is insane.
And there the preview ends, on Grant going insane over this last second decision, but probably not as insane as his final pick is right now, having to watch this being teased over and over for the last 2 months. So this final bit of footage is nothing new for us, but let's now talk about who we think he's going to pick. Will he just throw up his hands and pick no one? Will Jesse Palmer pull out a coin and say,
"What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?"
Sir?
The most you ever lost on a coin toss.
So here are my thoughts. Grant's going to get engaged, and what's happened since, if they're still together or not, is something we'll find out at the After the Final Rose, or however they decide to do that part of the finale. But as for his decision, I'm still going with Juliana. It might seem, especially after last episode, like Latia has shot back into frontrunner status with her being so willing to move for Grant and Grant dropping that full-blown I love you to her, something we've yet to see with Juliana, but I think the amount of pro-Latia footage we saw last episode could be an editing ploy. Like, when I was little boy Fantake, I was into wrestling a lot, and there's this storytelling technique where they'd have one wrestler win a bunch to make it seem like they've got all the momentum going into the big title match, but then they would lose to make the actual outcome more exciting and less predictable. So it could be that. Put in all the extra Latia footage to make it seem more like her, and then bam, surprise, it's Juliana. Plus, I do wonder if Grant, even though he said he wants kids, is still on a bit of a different timeline with that than Latia. And I mean, they're not terribly far off on that timeline, but every nitpicky detail might be the deciding factor when Grant's having to make such a last-second decision. I also think Grant's a little more himself with Juliana, and perhaps he's more enamored with the idea of Latia than the reality of Latia. Which, speaking of, there's the Mormon stuff, which should be a consideration like any major spiritual, political, or social value that needs to be discussed with a partner. I mean, does Grant know enough about it to be connected to it, even if it's just in a small way? Or is that even an issue for Grant? Maybe, maybe not. But conversely, when I think of the reasons why he wouldn't pick Juliana, I really can only think of the fact that Juliana came on stronger later on in the season. But if it's true, as Grant says in the preview, that he's in love with both women, does that even matter at this point? So that's my argument for Juliana. But while this season has been very predictable because it's really only been about 2 women, now that we're down to those 2 women, it's anything but predictable. So make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below on who you think he's going to pick. Then, next week, let's finally get to the end of this, and as Grant says himself,
stay tuned for my demise.
So that's it for this final preview breakdown for the Bachelor finale. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to the channel for more content. And, until next time, Bachelor Fantake, out.
It is not normal that you go into an engagement and you're still trying to figure out who your person is.